Right, up next, we shed light on recent foreign coverage of events here on the Korean Peninsula. For that, I have Kim Sung-yeon in the studio with me. Sung-yeon, welcome back.
Great to see you again, Sunny. So a lot of the international media this week focused on President Moon Jae-in's overseas trip as that's going on. Also, North Korea's recent string of missile tests. And there was also a piece on South Korea's balancing act between China and the United States. And finally, on Netflix's demand for more K content. So let's dive right in. Bloomberg says President Moon Jae-in succeeded in selling both soft and hard power on his tour to the Middle East and Africa, from K-pop to weapons sales. It noted that he closed a $3.5 billion missile deal while also hosting a K-pop concert for leaders in the United Arab Emirates. Bloomberg explained that these developments well reflected Korea's status as a growing source of both technological and cultural exports. In the meantime, Egypt's largest news agency, Arirang, noted that President Moon's visit to Egypt is proving to be a turning point in relations between Seoul and Cairo, as Egypt is the first African country President Moon has visited during his presidential term, and that bilateral agreements reached at this time would help Egypt implement its 2030 vision.
Right. And across the border, Sung-yeon, as you mentioned, North Korea remained in the international headlines this week, right?
Of course, Sunny, since the year's start, I have been mentioning week after week about North Korea's missile tests. And the North launched yet another short-range ballistic missiles on Monday, marking its fourth weapons test in a month. So the New York Times indicated that the latest tests have raised tensions at a very sensitive time when South Korea is getting ready for its presidential election in March, and China is preparing to host the Beijing Winter Olympics next month. Now, in the meantime, NPR noted that Monday's test was North Korea's fourth ballistic missile launch in under 2 weeks, when it took the North 10 months to conduct that many ballistic missiles tests last year. The report went on to say that 2022 is shaping up to be a year of heightened tensions between North Korea and the U.S. Nevertheless, some experts who spoke to NPR said the North may simply be following a pre-existing plan, and that its recent tests are a normal part of its development cycle for these new missile systems. However, another expert believes the North's weapons testing may continue to grow in scale and ambition, with the most dangerous weapons to be unveiled perhaps between 2023 and 2025 in his forecast, which is when another crisis may erupt.
Right. Hopefully that will not be the case, though.
Yes.
And staying on the diplomatic fronts, Sung-yeon, let's move on to that piece about Seoul's balancing act amid tensions between Beijing and Washington.
Right, Sunny. So I did come across an interesting article, and this was on The Diplomat, about South Korea's role between the two great powers, the United States and China, amid Washington's attempt to recruit South Korea in its effort to build resilient semiconductor supply chains. So The Diplomat explained that Korea seems to have a very important role in the Biden administration's global supply chain restructuring plan, particularly as Washington has been trying to address shortages in semiconductors amid its tensions with China. The report further noted that Korea may be the only country that can cooperate with the U.S. in 3 of its 4 vulnerable sectors that have been recognized by Biden's supply chain report released in June of last year. Now, those 3 areas are semiconductors, large capacity batteries, and pharmaceuticals, while China plays a leading role in the one other area, which is critical minerals and materials. Now, meanwhile, the report pointed out that developments in the region have been viewed with caution by South Korea, given that it's heavily reliant on both China and the U.S., and that many tough decisions lie ahead for Korea as it tries to find that middle ground between the two great superpowers.
Right, and moving on to our final story, Sung-yeon, I understand Netflix is demanding more Korean content. Tell us more.
Yes, Sunny, Netflix has big ambitions of luring many more new subscribers, of course. And among the race to global streaming dominance, its success with Korean series like Squid Game and Kingdom can provide it with the direction to winning over the rest of Asia. So Bloomberg wrote that when it comes to Netflix's global ambitions, what comes after the success of Squid Game is what matters more, adding that according to its weekly top 10 list, Korea has contributed more popular Netflix programs than any country other than the U.S. The report also noted that Netflix now hopes to ride its Korean surge to even more success in other parts of the Asia Pacific. Furthermore, it mentioned that Netflix ended September with 213 million new subscribers, with executives aiming to reach 500 million eventually. An analyst was cited as saying that in order to do that, the Asia-Pacific region represents Netflix's biggest opportunity for growth. Hence, capitalizing on the current momentum with K-content seems to be the most critical. Bloomberg says Netflix's next move could be to hire top executives with connections to Korea's local entertainment industry, as well as selecting the right content that can travel across different cultures, such as Korean language programs.
Right, I suppose there's a lot to look forward to. All right, Sung-yeon, thank you very much for the coverage.
The pleasure is mine.